Good afternoon, Mr. Jeff here with Jeffrey Konich's American Kempo Leadership Academy out of Hudson, Massachusetts. You can check us out on karateforfree.com. That's first word karate, number 4, free.com. You can try our program out for free online. We have a multitude of classes that you can try that includes one-on-one private sessions, semi-live or semi-private sessions with a few people, and then group classes with a dozen or more at a time. So check us out on karateforfree.com. We put out a live video once a day. Typically, most of the time on Monday through Friday, I'll put them out between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. On certain days, I'll wait till later in the day, midday, change it up a little bit. Typically in the evening times or the afternoons, I'll do videos with my kids as well. Today, I'm going to be covering a basic concept that helps with joint pain, joint stiffness, and things of that nature. Because a lot of our training is geared towards more than just physical fitness. It's also geared towards healing and balancing your body. So that way, the things you're doing with your physical fitness are actually strengthening your body rather than injuring or hurting your body. So what I want to do is give you a basic exercise that you can use at any point throughout the day if you're feeling stiff. Typically, this is a good one to do as soon as you wake up. Sometimes it's good to do before you go to sleep. What you'll find is that it will relax your body and get the joints moving a little bit and make them actually feel a little bit awake, but also relaxed. How do my joints feel relaxed? Well, let's think about what it means to be relaxed. It's kind of the opposite of tense, right? We're relaxed. So if your joints are stiff and you find it hard to move in certain directions or do certain movements, that's because the joints are stiff and they might even be inflamed. So if you have joint issues or chronic diseases, some pretty severe things that will get in the way of doing these exercises, I recommend absolutely talk to your doctor. And you know yourself better than I do. So apply these concepts lightly to your own practice and see if it helps. Okay? So we rely the most on our legs. We have to do walking around and standing around, and if we're going further than that, we need support so we can do certain moves that require balance and precision. Right? So let's start with the feet and the ankles. We just kind of lift them up and start making circular movements. And we'll be working terms such as range of motion. That's something that you're going to identify with more and more as we go through our exercises in this training. So first, I'm just working on that form of the front kick with my foot. Again, that locks in the muscles that I'm using. Now, I want you to think about it this way. You start the movement with the feet and the ankles. As soon as you make those circles big enough, the next joint that's connected to the ankle is the knee. So the knee starts moving now, and you can do one at a time just to kind of get used to it. Working a slight balance, relying on one leg while you move the other. Then I can get the floor involved. Now I have several places I can put my foot depending on what position I want to utilize here. I utilize all of them. So for instance, here's my cat. I put it out a little more. Then I can put it out here, and I'm in my horse, but I'm still working the movement. Now I'm working that range of motion with my foot. And automatically, as my knee's moving, I can feel next, my hips are starting to feel the movement, which means my hips are starting to move. So one joint goes into the next. Now I get the hips moving. Once I get those warmed up a little bit, now they're all still moving, but together this way. Now in this case, as my hips start making circles, I want to keep the crown of my head or my nose lined up with my hips. So you can look at it one of these two ways. Nose lined up with belly button, or crown of head lined up with hips. Which means if my hips go back, my head goes forward. If my hips go forward, my head goes back. And as I'm starting to make these movements, everything else is still getting warmed up. I can widen it and be in my horse stance. I can take it and start rotating like so. And as soon as my torso starts moving, you have to think to yourself, what is the next logical part of my body to move? And we say logical because we're thinking through it. But really, we want to find the most natural. So if my hips are moving next, my shoulders will be doing the moving. Once my shoulders get a good sense, and I can alternate directions if I want. Once my shoulders get enough for the movement, the next thing to happen are my elbows. So now my elbows are coming up. And I'm just moving those in different ways, seeing where I can feel them. Okay. Just getting the general movement going. And next after my elbows are my wrists. Now my wrists are starting to feel the movement. And again, I'm still working different points of contact with my leg, right? Working the movement in the hips and the ankles. And after my wrists, the next joints we're looking at are the fingers, right at the knuckles, and then the fingers themselves all the way through to the tips. See? So now my movements start to advance a little bit. Now, this is where your vocabulary of motion comes into play. The more you know, because the more you're training, the more you can spontaneously apply to this exercise. For now, you can try to follow along with some of the basic movements just so you can get a sense of how it works. So again, to recap, we start with the knees and the feet, just getting that, or I'm sorry, the ankles and the feet, just to get that general movement, and you can automatically feel what's happening to the muscles that are connected right up into the knee. So that tells you, okay, next, the knees move. And once I get the knees moving, next are the hips. And feel how they naturally connect and move when you turn in certain directions. Okay? Next, the hips, but as my hips are moving, my knees and my ankles are getting a different type of a circular movement, if you can see that. And then as the torso starts getting into it, now the shoulders are next. Now there's several different ways you can go with this, right? But I want you to just start focusing on the movement and see what motion comes out of it. Right? One to the next. Now if I start getting here, that's cool too, but I gotta feel this. Shoulders are next. After the shoulders come the elbows. After the elbows come the wrists and the fingers. Okay? So play with it. Now some of you that are more advanced with this can start applying our method of using our awareness to get into specific positions with these basic joint movements. So I'm still working the toes and the ankles and the knees and the hips. And if I wanted to plant it, I could. And I could work certain motions in conjunction with my movement, right? Or in conjunction with my positions, rather. Some of you advanced folks know some of this stuff already. Some of you maybe not. But the idea is to build fluid movement. And you're not doing anything that's unnatural. So all of the motions you're doing are natural according to the structure of your body and your range of motion. Okay? Now I'm just spontaneously working certain exercises. get the idea. I can stay in one position and work a few different movements. Okay. So start with the ankles, work your way up to the knees, then take it into the hips. Now you see each time I'm doing something a little different as I describe this to you. This gives you an idea of how wide your options are. Once I'm there, I can go this way. We know this one. You can see how my arms are just relaxed here. Now with regards to the arms, if we want to get the shoulders involved a little more, there's a couple of ways I can bring my arms up. I can bring them up this way. I could bring them up this way. I can go this way. I can go this way. Okay. Then I can move circles this way, getting the shoulders involved, but also getting the elbows and wrists involved. Okay. And as I'm just kind of working through certain motions here, I'm just moving my body. Just naturally moving. And feel how when one motion happens, it sets you up for another motion. Okay, so you get the idea. Basic movements, basic warm-ups. Throughout the day, apply it to your situation. My legs are stiff because I've been on my feet all day. Well, I'm going to work some of these motions just to loosen up some of that tightness. I might stop for a second here. Might stop for a second here. Work through that. Now all of these are kind of the basis through which we build our positions and our motions on those positions, whether it be for martial arts or for yoga. Depends on which program you sign up for. Most of our students are doing the martial arts program. If you are interested, I have a yoga class that I'm doing through a yoga studio, but it's virtual also. It's called Yoga for Men. Women are also invited. Typically, men who are new to the yoga thing, bring their mothers or their spouse or their sister or someone they're comfortable with that maybe already does yoga. You'll get an element of what you're seeing here in this video applied to that type of practical exercise with a standard style guided yoga class. With the martial arts, same thing. We build off all the same material, except there's certain rank structures and short and long-term goals that are associated with what you're learning. So main difference is you test on the martial arts stuff and you meet certain achievements within the martial arts rank. And in the yoga stuff, it's more of your personal study and practice of the motion itself. Hybrid students get both. So it's pretty cool to see the transparent concepts that are in both systems. All right, well, it's been a pleasure. I know some of you watch this later on and are not always able to jump on live. That's totally fine. I put these out here for you. If you're not able to try the program out right now, that's fine. Totally, it's up to you. You know your situation better than me. However, the first lesson is free. It's going to take about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how long it takes for you to sign in on the meeting app. And from there, we'll go over your goals, we'll go over the program features and benefits, and we'll get you started with your free 2 weeks. I look forward to meeting you, and have yourself a great day.